Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tastefully Balanced. I'm Miriam, and today we are making a deep dish tomato pizza, and it's going to have a homemade pizza dough. And you'll see when I make this that homemade pizza dough is really not that hard to make. All you really need is a stand mixer, some sort of mixer with a dough hook attachment, and then you'll see it's all about just dumping ingredients in and letting the mixer do its job. I'm so excited to share this recipe with you guys. I hope you guys like all of these pizza recipes, and if you do, please subscribe and keep watching. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is make the pizza dough. Now, a lot of people think that's really hard to do, but it's actually pretty simple. I learned mine from Laura Vitale too, so shout out to her. But the first thing you're gonna wanna do is take some warm water. I've got about 1 1/3 cups of warm water, around 110 degrees. And then I have these packets of dry active yeast. And what you're gonna do is just put it in the warm water and let it sit for about 3 minutes. And you'll know that it's actively the yeast is working when it kind of gets a little foamy and bubbly on the top. It won't happen right away, but you'll see. That's when you know that it's good active yeast, or else your yeast might be too old or the water might be too hot or too cold to activate it. So I'm gonna let that activate on the side here. And while that's going, I have my KitchenAid fitted with a dough hook. So in my mixer bowl, I have about 3.5 cups of flour. And then to that, I've got about a couple teaspoons of salt and sugar that I'm just gonna go ahead and add. And then set it to low just to get it mixed a little bit. And then I have a couple tablespoons of olive oil. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that. All right, and then just let it mix up together. And then once our yeast is activated, I'll just be adding that as well. All right, so it's been 3 minutes, a little bit more, and you can see on the sides there's bubbles, and then in the middle there seems to be some yeast that have risen to the top, and basically that's what you want it to look like. So now I'm gonna go ahead and dump this all, mix it all up, and dump it into my stand mixer. And now on low, I'm going to let this mix for 10 minutes. So that is why it's really key to have a mixer, because you do not want to be kneading with your hands for that long. So the mixer does all the work for you. So on low, just let it go for 10 minutes and then I'll show you what's next. All right, guys, it's been about 10 minutes on low and I think we are ready. Yes, look at that. It should slide right off your dough hook. Oh yes, perfect. So what I'm gonna do now is split it into 2 dough balls, and one I'm going to, let me put that. So I have a bowl. I'm not gonna use one until later, not for this recipe, but how I store it is I'll go ahead, well, if you want to use it much later, I would put it right in the fridge right now, freezer, sorry. And then it can last in there until you use it again. Just unthaw it and then let it rise. But I'm going to be using it for another recipe. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom. And then you basically kind of pull on the sides and pinch on the bottom. Pull on the side and pinch on the bottom. And then once you've done that a few times, you kind of just take the seam, twist it a little bit, and then seam side down, put it in the bowl. And then I just take some of the residue oil on the bottom. And this kind of just helps it not form a little crust on the top, dry crust, so then everything is well oiled. And then I would just saran wrap this and let it rise for a couple hours, and then you can make just regular pizza out of it. But since today we are making a deep dish pizza. I have my cast iron skillet here. What I'm gonna do first is, again, put a little bit of oil and make sure you get all the sides as well. Okay. All right, so that looks good. And now you're gonna take your dough ball, kind of do the same thing where you pull and you pinch, pull, pinch, and then twist the seam. You're gonna put it right in the middle of your cast iron, and then you're just going to try to pull this out as much as possible to the edge. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because what we're gonna do next is let this rise in a dry, kind of warm place. I'm gonna put it in the microwave because I'm not gonna use the microwave and it's a little bit, you know, dry and warm. So I'm just gonna put some saran wrap on top of this and let it sit there for an hour at least. And then I will show you guys what to do next. All right, I did forget to mention one thing. Once you've got it kind of spread out like this, just take some of the leftover oil, and like we did with the dough ball, just smear a little extra oil that you have on the top. And this way it won't form that crust again. Okay, now I'm gonna let it rest. All right, so it's been about an hour and a half actually, and this is what my pizza dough looks like. Yours, if you use an actual deep dish, will probably get a little bit bigger, but I'm using a cast iron, so this is good. But the main thing you want to notice is that it's nice and soft. Before it was a little bit harder than this, but now that it has time to activate the yeast and everything, it is very nice and soft. So this is really it. Now we're just going to go ahead and add our topping. So this is it's going to be like a pizza pie, tomato pie. So the main ingredient is going to be just these cherry tomatoes that I have. And then to that, I'm just adding some garlic and oregano. All right. And then some salt. Black pepper, and then a couple tablespoons of oil. That should be good. And then you're just gonna give this a good mix. So this is a very, very fresh deep dish. Since traditionally deep dishes are very filled with cheese and all that, I wanted to kind of eliminate that and find something that's a little bit more healthy. You still get that crust, but you don't have that cheese in this version of the recipe. So now what I have is just some tomato marinara sauce. I just have one that I bought from the store. If you do buy it from the store, just make sure that it doesn't have any weird ingredients, and then it's just tomatoes, and mine one has basil and salt, and that is it. So make sure that you buy one that's pretty limited in ingredients. Okay, so you're just gonna spread it like this all the way to the edge, because it is gonna rise all the way on the edges and everything. And since it's in a cast iron skillet, nothing's gonna fall over, so go all the way to the edge. All right, so that looks good to me. Now what I'm gonna do is take this tomato mixture that I just made, and you're just going to sprinkle it on top. And that is really it. Now I'm just gonna throw this in the oven at 450 for 25 minutes, and then I'll show you guys what's next. And it's gonna be very, very quickly done after that. All right, guys, the pizza just came out of the oven. It looks so, so good. Perfect. Look at the edge. That's exactly what I wanted. So now I have a little pizza tray here. I'm just going to lift and see if I can just slide this right out. Yes, look at that. That is awesome. So now what I want to do is, I have some fresh basil that I just picked from my garden. Gonna just to give it a little green. Oh, that looks so pretty. All right, perfect. And then you can add more green if you want, but that looks good to me. All right, time to cut this. Oh yes. All right, get myself a little piece and then show you guys what this looks like. Oh yes, look at that crust. And then look at the end, nice and crispy. Probably a little, because the sauce went there, that's why it's a little bit darker, but that is perfect. All right, it's steaming. So I'm gonna wait and blow on this for a little bit before I take a bite. All right, I think it's good. That crust is perfect. Nice and crispy on the bottom. Oh my gosh, guys. And then it was such easy, simple ingredients. And you know what? A lot of people grow tomatoes at home. So if you are growing cherry tomatoes at home, this would be amazing to make. So guys, if you like pizza recipes, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, live life tastefully balanced. Oh.